Hi, gang. You're listening to Burlesque Unleashed. My name is Dinah.
And I'm Isla Storm, and here we dive into the latest dilemmas, deliberations, and dramas in the burlesque world.
We chat about topics every month and share our views. Um,
But we have something special. We are adding a new little section at the start of the pod, which is dun, 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 burlesque news.
what? If I could be bothered editing it, we would like
We need a
shift to
little
being in
tune.
like a there would be like a tune, and then like our backgrounds would change if you're watching us on YouTube, where it's like we're in a
Burlesque
office and like. However, for those of you that are on YouTube, we do not have mugs with our logo on it, so we can have these while we do our newsroom section.
news. The
Yeah.
news.
Mm. The
Mm,
tea. The tea is
scalding hot
hot and it
tea.
is coming from our cups.
News. So the Beehoff lineups are out.
Whoop, whoop.
Amazing. They'll have been out for quite a while by the time this goes up.
Yeah, but still, it's fine. And
It's
a
very
friend of the
exciting.
pods, Juna B, is performing, which we are very excited
Hmm
about. And if the live stream tickets go on sale, because I haven't seen them go on sale yet, we will be doing a live stream of our reactions.
That is the
Um,
plan.
yeah, but there's not tickets yet, so I'm kind of waiting for that.
Watch this space.
Yeah. Um, Other piece of news, just a general thing, is a lot of the Edinburgh Fringe shows have started their casting. So if anyone is coming up with a show or they are just coming up wanting to pick up some work, check out things like PBH Free Fringe group on Facebook. There's loads of kind of casting calls happening across Instagram with various different producers and stuff as well. So getting guest spots, they usually don't pay very well, but if you've got your own show and you're wanting to promote, then there's definitely some good shows that we can
Hmm
recommend.
Do check in because there are also some shows that we would not recommend that may or
Yeah,
may not
yeah,
be casting at the moment that
yeah,
like to haunt the Edinburgh Fringe. So if in doubt, just give us a shout.
yeah. Ooh, I like that.
Oh,
If you take us a
she's
shout.
rhyming today.
Oh, oh. That's
I
all
don't know
I
what
need.
energy this is being funneled from somewhere into this because she's tired.
Yeah, I feel like today is going to be unhinged because we're both
Mhm.
tired, which is hilarious because it actually feeds really nicely into actually today's topic.
It's like these topics we pick are relevant.
I right. Today we're talking about work-life balance or their lack of. Their lack of.
Like they're, yeah.
Yeah, yeah, lack thereof. Yeah. So probably for context to start, we've briefly talked about our day jobs before, but just to like remind everyone, Aya, what is your day job?
So I'm full-time self-employed, which is also another facet of
Hmm.
work-life balance and why this can be tricky. I work in veterinary, so I am a veterinary surgeon. Locuming, which is how I'm able to do it as freelance. So I don't work in any one particular place. So yeah, I'm in a medical field and then I went into burlesque. What is work-life balance? Not really promoted in either field, so I'm screwed.
Yay. But she's smart, so it's fine. She's so smart. I work. Everything everyone knows this by this point. I work in tech. I I have a bit of an easier life when it comes to work-life balance, which we'll talk about because I get to work from home at the moment. I occasionally go into the office. I was in the office today, so my brain is a bit more fried than normal. And I probably have a bit of an easier time in some respects than yourself.
Mm.
Um, I think there's different ways in terms of you, when you're at work, and when you're not, you're not.
Yeah, I
My
was going to
work
say the
can,
separation I think can be very beneficial. And I know, like, since I've been freelancing for 2 years, when I was in a permanent job, like you carry things over and there's expectations and there's, managers have to do something with their day. So there's always, what's your next project? What are you working on? It's often not enough to just come in, do your job and then leave it at the end of the day.
yeah,
Whereas I have more of that now. And yet, like
yeah.
you say, I can't really take my work home. When I'm not at work,
Hmm.
I'm not working.
Well, it is. I have that weird thing where there's definitely been times where, I'm online till stupid o'clock at night. It happens very rarely, but like if there's a big project going live, like I do have sort of work emails on my phone, so like it can seep. Although there's freedom, there's also it means it can seep into your life a bit more. It's
Definitely.
like a bit of a it's yeah, there's kind of a good part and a bad part. This is what I mean about my brain being fried. Double-edged sword,
Words.
that's what I was
Words
looking
are
for.
hard.
Words are hard. It's a bit of a double-edged sword because yeah, I have freedom to kind of like I can go and get a haircut on my lunch or I can go to the gym because I have everything on my phone, but at the same time, I have everything on my phone, it fucking follows me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, but I suppose talking about how we find a balance with burlesque, do you have any like ways of how you channel your energies or kind of keep yourself attempt to have some sort of balance?
Yeah, I think the separation does help, and and not I try and compartmentalize things. I like boxes.
Yes.
When I find visual aids really help me,
Mm-hmm.
and I like to use a paper planner because I can't accidentally delete things. And people are like, my
Yeah.
husband's like, put it in your phone, use your phone calendar, put it in your phone. And I'm like, it doesn't exist to me. This is fiction. Like, because it
Yeah.
doesn't stay in my brain. There's no
Mm.
like context for it. Sometimes it displays some calendars, and sometimes it like there's.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it. I do still put things in there, even if it's temporary. But I have a paper diary. Hashtag not sponsored. I like a passion planner.
Oh,
It's
what's
quite
that?
it's quite expensive. It comes from America, but it is basically, I don't have it to hand. That's really annoying. I should have brought it because I knew I was going to talk about it. It basically has time laid out. So the one that I do, they do different ones. I like the weekly one. So if you've got a two-page spread,
Mm-hmm.
you've got the week, and it goes from like 6 a.m. to like midnight pretty much. And
Okay.
it's got little lines for each sort of
Mm.
hour or half hour. So
Yes.
and what I do is I physically draw out boxes
Mm.
of time.
No, that
So
makes sense.
yeah, so like I'll put in my work shifts because obviously once they're booked, that's non-negotiable. If I have shows and things, I put them in. And then to try and deal with the never-ending to-do lists that come with both my jobs,
Mhm. Yes.
I will look at it and go, right, what time do I actually have in the week? Because
Mm.
I definitely have time blindness, and that paralysis thing. If I have so many, I'm like, I have costumes to do, I have this to rehearse, I have these emails to send, I have all these things that I have to
Yeah.
do for
Mm-hmm.
burlesque. Where do I start?
Yeah.
But I overestimate what I can get accomplished. Oh, that'll take me like 5 minutes. 5 hours later. So it's like it helps me get started, and it helps me to actually be realistic about my time.
Yeah.
If I look and go, how big is the gap?
Yeah.
And then I write things in, and it's like, how many things can we? It helps my brain to see it laid out like that.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'm not always good at keeping up with it, but when I use it, I get so much more done, and I also feel stuff creeps less.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? If I go, all right, this 2 hours, I have to get really specific.
Or do
It's
your
just,
brain doesn't like it?
brain doesn't like it. If there's too many steps, I don't like it. I have to leave
Mm.
nothing up to chance.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
can't be like, oh, I'm going to do 2 hours of admin because I will literally sit and stare at my screen and be like, where do I start? I have to go, okay, I'm going to do 2 hours of admin. I'm going to write these emails. I'm going
Right, okay.
to, organize this
Yeah.
folder. I'm going to do whatever. I have to literally tell myself what I'm doing and tick them off.
Fair enough.
I'm very rewards focused if I can tick things off a list.
Is that your ADHD?
I mean, we're not officially diagnosed, but yeah.
It sounds yeah, yeah. It sounds very much like it. That's right. My partner's ADHD.
Mm,
So yeah, just some of the I'm like, yes, I have seen this behavior.
yes.
I have a kind of different so I don't really have a practical thing like that, but I have this concept of it comes from a book that I read for work and it's like a corporate thing, right? But you
Mm,
can apply it to any part of your life, which is this concept of a rock star and a superstar. So a
okay.
rock star in your work is someone who is like they are like the bedrock of the company. They show up, they do the job well, like they are you can rely on them, they're consistent, right?
Hmm.
A superstar is someone who's like super ambitious, they're throwing all their energy in it, they're like going really far, like, yeah, superstar kind of thing. And the thing is about work is that in a corporate environment, you need both, but they both get motivated in different ways, blah, blah, blah. I won't go into that because it's specifically about corporate life. But I kind of apply those concepts to my life. So
Hmm.
if burlesque is taken off, then that's like the superstar part of my life. So I need work to just be easy and consistent, and I'm not striving for promotions or for a new job or like I show up, I do my thing, I leave, and a lot more of my energy goes into burlesque.
Yeah.
And then if for whatever reason work takes off, I need to put more energy into that, so I have to take a step back and just be like, right now I'm in my rock star era in
Hmm.
burlesque, where I'm just doing my gigs, I'm doing stuff, but I'm not like necessarily creating new acts or doing all this kind of thing. And it just helps me balance kind of where I'm focusing my energy because there was a period of time where I was like superstar in both. In shock horror, I burnt out because there's only so much
What a
energy someone has.
surprise.
Imagine that. So like it's not a visual planning thing, it's more like a where is my focus right now?
Hmm. Hmm.
So
I
like
really identify with that as well, even though it maybe
mhm,
doesn't. I'd say I've had bigger shifts where it's been heavily one way for a long time and then it's
yeah,
changed.
yeah,
Because in the profession that I do in my day job, you don't get much choice
no.
in terms of how much of your energy is going. If it's a
Yeah.
busy day, it's a busy day. And if you're on a kind of contract that involves on call and that involves weekends,
Yeah.
and that's one of the things that I was saying when I changed to freelancing and having that separation. Like you say, I come in, I work hard on shift.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I'm usually booked and busy because there's people that don't. Anyway, I come in, I work really hard, I get on with the team, I do the best job that I can do.
Yeah.
When my shift ends, if nothing needs medical attention, I leave. I
Yeah.
don't stay and like do admin and stuff. If it wasn't time to do the admin that's non-essential, sorry, it gets pushed to the next day. I say I was too busy. You can't really do that in a permanent job. There's the expectation that you will stay until everything's done.
Mm.
And yeah, again, depending on your managers and depending on the type of place it is, depending on what the clients are like. Mrs. Jones wants her blood results at 8 p.m., even though you've not had a wee all day,
Yeah, yeah, and
for
that's.
example.
I just think it helps me balance things because there was like a period in my work where I was looking after this massive project and it
Mm,
was sucking up so much of my brain space every day
hmm.
that I this concept allows me to kind of give myself like permission to not be pushing myself in the other area of my life. I'm like, do
Yeah.
you know what? That's still steady. It's still there. I'm
Hmm.
still doing what I'm doing. I just have to focus on this thing for a while. So like
Yeah.
everyone knows by this point that I'm currently looking to move house. So that's taken up so much of my brain space that although I'm doing kind of some costume and stuff in burlesque just now, that's and I'm revamping like an old act, that's kind of at the
You're kind
side.
of letting yourself relax a bit about that and not be like, I
I'm
have
not
to
putting
also be.
I'm not putting any time pressure on it. I'm just kind of plodding along with it. Like I've
Hmm.
got the music and everything. If I'm listening to it and I see stuff in my head, I write it down, but I'm not pushing. And I'm also
Sure.
not really like applying to a lot of like castings and stuff because I need all my time and energy to be in this other thing.
Yeah.
Instead, I'm showing up for the bookings that I've got. I'm doing my acts that I know I have. I'm rehearsing the acts I know I have, and I'm just being steady. And it's more a thing about giving myself permission to be
Hmm.
steady in one part of my life.
Yeah, you don't have to be all singing and all dancing in all areas at the same time.
Because we all try and do that.
Yeah,
It's
I'm very
almost like
bad
millennial women were told that we could have everything and it wouldn't cost us our fucking mental health.
at that. Hey. Yeah, I'm really bad at that. And I think, like, I know it was one of the things that stopped me from even getting into burlesque to
Mm,
begin with, because I know that I'm like that.
yeah.
But I also know that, like, being creative and, like, I grew up dancing and doing theatre and stuff, like, I knew that side of me was really, like, ingrained.
Hmm.
Um, but the nature of the job was just like, I couldn't even sign up to, like, a 6-week course because I couldn't guarantee that I could be free at 7:30.
Yep.
for 6 weeks in a row. And then once the pandemic hit and everything shifted, I was in a charity job. So I had the opposite experience of the veterinary world than most vets did. Because our stuff, other than the animals that we had in the shelter,
Mm-hmm.
like rehoming was not considered like essential.
Yep.
We had to look after the animals that we had, but we weren't meant to take in anymore. We weren't meant to rehome anymore.
Yep.
So everything went real quiet.
Mm.
Whereas everybody, like in private practice, everybody bought puppies
Yeah.
and took them to the vet, and nobody could go, you couldn't do face-to-face appointments. Everything took 3 times as long.
Yep.
Everyone was out of date of their vaccinations. Nobody could get their pets neutered, and then there's all these problems that come with that. Everyone else was rushed off their feet. We had very little to do. You know, we went down to like 10% of the animals that we would normally have. So my day
Wow.
job went, yeah, and they didn't furlough any of us.
Mm. So all of
But
a
it
sudden
meant
you had brain space, right?
I had brain space and I had time. I was working from home 4 days a week, sometimes five, if it wasn't my weekend.
Mm.
Like, I've never had so much time and so much energy
Yep.
because I wasn't working flat out mentally and physically and emotionally
Yep.
at such a hardcore job all day. Yeah, I've never had so much time. I loved the first lockdown.
I think that's the
Um,
thing. Like, I think that's one of the most important things is having not just, yes, time, but also brain space. Like, folk are always
yes.
like to me, I don't know how you're doing so much. And it's like, I pretty much, like, I edit this and Behind the Rhinestones during working hours
Mm,
because I can. I'm lucky enough that I can find the space to do it. I can sit here on calls and rhinestone
yeah,
because this is where I work, right? This is literally my workspace I'm sitting at right now. Um, like I am lucky enough to be able to fit in so many things into my life that works in my day because of my day job.
yeah,
Um, and it makes things a lot easier. Whereas people who are like full time in an office or like if you were full time still working at like a veterinary practice,
yeah.
that's a very different thing. And I don't think we talk about the fact that everyone's lives are different and that also impacts how much time and energy and therefore in some cases how successful you'll be because it does need
Mm.
brain space not just to create acts but also to reply to casting calls, to do your fucking socials, to even have the brain space to plan your like I always say people plan your socials a month in advance, but you need the brain space to think about what the fuck you're gonna
Yeah,
post.
exactly. You still need to think about it. You need to do it. It just means
Mhm.
on the day you don't need to, but you still need to spend some
Yeah.
time. If people want to go and do festivals or even just out of town gigs, you know. I remember the first international festival that I did, and that was the only one that I did for a long time. And some of my friends did a few that year, but that's because they had jobs that they could work remotely. You know, we were
Yeah.
abroad in the Airbnb and they were like, oh, we have to work till lunchtime, sitting there with their laptops in the sunshine.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I'm bored because I've had to take holiday and I'm the one that's not working, which is nice, but it obviously limited how much I could do because you only
Yeah.
have so many holidays. So, yeah, like we don't all have the same
No.
time resources. We don't have all the same brain resources because if you do have a job that allows you to kind of tinker away in at the sides, then your free time is a little bit more free.
Yep.
Whereas, yeah, if I'm on shift for 8 hours, I can't do burlesque stuff for that 8 hours. I have to do it afterwards.
And then you also need to actually do things that are not associated with either one of your jobs.
Yeah, like eating and sleeping and seeing my husband.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. Seeing my partner and my cats is like, but also things like your hobbies, like you do aerial.
I
Like
haven't been in ages because I've
I
been
was thinking that.
so. Do you know what? Because I haven't had the brain space to
Mm,
literally. I mean, through the winter, I basically flip-flop between being ill or injured like every
yeah.
fucking couple of weeks. Every
Mm,
time I was like, right, I'm gonna get back to it and book a class, I would get sick or injured again. And then I've just been like on a hamster wheel.
yep.
So I haven't actually sat down and bought a class pass and booked a class. And it's just, yeah, I feel like I got out of the cycle of it.
I was thinking about it the other day, actually.
I
I think
mean,
I was thinking about this, and I was like, I've not seen her post anything in
I
ages.
think it was October that I last went.
Mental. But that's
Yeah,
dead easy to fall out of. This is the other thing,
right. And I
like,
used to go at least once a week,
yeah,
sometimes twice.
which is fun. That's a hobby. You need hobbies that aren't
It's also
associated.
good for you. Like my upper arm strength is upper arm, my upper body strength has gone to shit. My core strength has gone to shit.
Oh yeah, the second you stop aerial, your body just goes meh.
Yeah, and like core strength is helpful for burlesque. We dance in heels.
Yeah,
You know, it's
it's
a thing
finding
that's
the time.
indirectly helpful, even though it's not like a, I'm not doing
Yeah,
it for burlesque, but it helps.
again, like I'm lucky that most of the time I can salvage my evenings because I can go, because I work from home, I can go to the gym at lunch.
Hmm.
So then my evenings, I have more time to do, like I can spend time with my partner, or a lot of people know I've got some caring responsibilities. My gran, who lives like literally, I think it's like literally 17 minutes door to door for me to walk to her house. Pretty sure I timed it once. Um, I can't remember why. I just decided to time it one day. Um,
Gamify it. Gamify your
yeah,
life.
yeah, it's gamifying life, to be honest. So I can kind of do those things, and I can keep up with housework, and I can, like, if I want to practice or if I want to do like a stretch class or whatever. But even then, sometimes I feel like I don't have enough hours,
Yeah.
or like if it's been a really heavy brain day, I don't
You just
fucking
can't,
want
sometimes you
to.
just can't face it. You're just like, no.
No, I just don't want to. I also think something that like we've talked about in the past as well. It's like one of the reasons that superstar rockstar thing works for me is because I think previously I had this fear of taking my foot off the gas, that
Hmm.
somehow I would fall behind, that like I wouldn't be doing as well as my peers, or that people would forget that I existed. And it's like, no, you can't be constantly running at 1,000 miles an hour in
No.
all aspects of your life, because you will crash. You have to work out what that balance is.
And you
And
also just don't do things well, right? When you don't
no, that's when you
have
start
the
fucking up.
energy and the resources, yeah, you're not representing yourself in the best way. So especially with burlesque, if you are running yourself into the ground where actually you're not doing your act so well, maybe like I've had it where people have had to chase me for tech and things, which I used to be really good at.
Yep.
That's when I know that I'm doing too much, is when stuff like that starts to fall down.
Because that's the context switching is one of the biggest killers of your brain.
Mm,
And context switching between like your day job and then all of the things, again, we've talked about it, how much do you do, like you're a producer, you do your own shows, you now do this with me, like
hmm.
there's a lot to like context switch, and that's
Yeah,
really exhausting on your brain. So like the fact that you've forgotten to do tech, or you've for like the amount of times I've forgotten to apply to like a casting call,
yeah.
or I've missed a festival because I've been looking at it when my brain's been doing when I've been doing something else,
Mm.
and then I've
It just
forgotten
doesn't
about it.
stick. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I think that's a massive part of it as well. And the best way, again, like what you were talking about earlier, like properly planning your time, is
Mm.
probably one of the best ways to try and handle context switching.
It gets a lot out of your brain, isn't it? It's not I have
Yeah.
to remember that. It's in there.
Yeah.
I just look at it and go, what am I doing today?
I screenshot a lot of, like, see if I see festivals or casting calls, I screenshot them, and
Oh my
then
God, the screenshot graveyard.
oh yeah, but then what I try and do is on a Sunday night,
Mm,
I'm usually editing or something on a Sunday night, and I'll go into my screenshots and be like, right, okay, what did I screenshot this week? What do I need to apply for, or what do I
yeah.
need to do this with, or what was the purpose of this? And then can clear them out on a weekly basis, and it just helps me attempt to keep on top of it.
See, that's what I need to do. I screenshot them and then who knows? I might do it that evening. It
Yep.
might never happen. I might pull it up 6 months later and be like, well, shit,
That's
didn't
why I
apply
have
to
to do
that.
it like once a week. I have to
Yeah,
just be like, right, what did I
that's
screenshot? And
sensible.
sometimes it's like fucking nothing,
Mm.
but I check. Sometimes it's I play The Sims 4, and sometimes I'll screenshot something that someone's built so that I can build it, and I'm like, oh, that's not relevant to what. Then I get
We love a
distracted and
screenshot.
play The Sims, which is an entirely different conversation.
Work-life balance all gone down the drain into The
Oh
Sims.
yeah, because I hyperfixate for like 4 hours.
Yeah, I don't
What?
think I should get back into The Sims.
No, don't. This is the worst one.
Mm-mm.
I got back into it during lockdown because I was working from home and it was fuck all to do. And I ended up on Sims 4 This is a total side note. I ended up on Sims 4 TikTok. And these people
Wow.
were building like amazing houses and like teaching you how to do it. And I decided to download it and got like hours, hours building these houses, and then I never play in them.
I
I just
thought
built
the way
things.
to play was just to find like creative ways to kill them.
Oh yeah, there's a whole thing on that on TikTok. There was one
Isn't
the
that
other
what we,
day.
isn't that like the millennial women
Yeah,
hallmark is
yeah, yeah. Did you
sadistic
at some
Sims
point
playing?
put your Sims in the pool and then take away the ladder? Do you know that
Or,
doesn't work in The Sims 4 anymore? They can climb out. I
or you
know.
would build a tiny, tiny little house and then delete the door.
Yes. And just leave them there to
What is
die.
wrong with us?
This has went down a really weird. Right, we are both very tired
Let's
today.
pull
Let's
this
just
back.
as we're talking about it, we're both very tired. Um, yeah, I suppose like is there do you make we're talking about finding time for things. Do
Hmm.
you like I know I think I know you do this. Do you schedule like rehearsal time? Do you do that on the reg or if it's something that's coming up?
Usually, if it's something that's coming up, I'm trying to get better at doing it on the reg. One of the,
Mm,
again, I have to remove. She's not diagnosed, but she has all the tricks. I have to remove as many steps as I can. So, like
yeah.
my kitchen, I can rehearse in, but I have to move my. I've got two little tables that I have to move out of the middle of the room, and they
Mm.
were previously covered in stuff because my husband is diagnosed ADHD. This house. Um, the table is covered in stuff, so that became a huge barrier to me actually rehearsing because
Mm.
I was like, well, I've got to clear the tables and then move them, and that's just too much. If we keep the table clear, I have to move it, and then that's fine. I can rehearse there. But I find it hard to do if I don't schedule it. Again, maybe because you work from home, you're used to working from home,
Yeah.
to having a schedule or having things that you have to do, whereas I'm used to my home being my home.
Mm.
But when I need to do my burlesque work, one of the things that would save me a lot of money and hassle and time, because I don't have to go to the studio, would be to rehearse more in my own house. But yeah, I will often book the studio, the Soho School of Burlesque studio, because I'm a member there, so we get it discounted. And that makes me go because I've spent money on it and I've
Yeah.
taken a train into central London to go study. Um, yeah, I need to get better at like doing it regularly, but I find I'm pretty good at it when once there's a deadline and there's a
Yeah.
thing that I have to practice for.
I'm the same. See if there's like a festival or a show or something, like,
Mm,
or if I'm
mm,
working on something new.
mm-hmm.
Um, I do have a space in my front room. Um, I can dance in, but it's also like full of shit. It's like where we dry our clothes. It's where
Yeah.
all our books are. Like my costume wardrobe's in there. My makeup station's in there. So like it's not a huge amount of space. So if I'm doing like my silk veil work, I need to book
Mm,
studio time.
yeah, I can't
Which
do
is
silk
fine.
veils here.
No, can't do them in
Not at
my house
all.
either. And like like I've got my big boa and stuff. Like there's
Yeah.
things like
Big
that
fans, things like that.
I'm like I need an actual um
You
studio
need
space, so I
height.
will book it. Yeah, but I'm not great at doing it again, like you said, regularly.
Hmm.
And I do think it's something that I need to get back. One of the things we're looking at in a new house is actually a space that I can turn into like a decent sized studio
Mm,
and just
same.
have it.
We're looking at moving and like we're not having kids. It's just
No,
us and the
no.
cats. But
Yeah,
we're looking at like ideally we'd love like a two or three bedroom where one room could be
yeah,
a burlesque room. I'm like, I've got it so figured out. You only need like an okay sized bedroom that you can fit a wardrobe in.
yeah,
Because in my ideal burlesque room plan, we would have like fitted wardrobes with mirrored doors
yeah.
and not much else in the room
You don't
other
need
than
anything else.
stuff on
We
the
were
walls as
looking,
inspiration. But
I
yeah,
was
then
thinking,
you've got storage, but you've also got a dance studio, and it's just a little room in your house.
my partner sent me a place today that we want to go and view that's got like a um space out the back. You know how people build like pods to work from home and stuff?
Yeah,
There's like one of them, and I was like, that's the perfect size to just make a studio.
yeah,
Like, just mirror one wall,
yeah.
and then I've got a dance, and it's also out the house, so it takes me away.
Mm,
Like,
separate. Yeah, you're not
yeah, I
noisy.
was like, that would make life so much easier because I do think finding time to rehearse or finding space to choreo can
Mm.
sometimes be
It can be
it's,
such a barrier.
it's also far too easy to be distracted in the house.
Yeah. Even having a garden, like we have a tiny little garden, but like I can't, there's not enough space,
Mm.
the space to like go out there and sit, but that's one thing that we're looking at is even having a bit of outside space that
Mm.
is enough that I could take a veil or a pair of fans and swing them around.
But again, yes, but it's another thing that you have to find time for in your schedule. You
Hmm.
have to find energy for.
Hmm.
You have to have brain space for because being creative does require brain space.
Definitely.
Um, and I think that's probably like a really important thing. And
Yeah.
also, we were talking a little bit about festivals and shows and stuff. Like, I don't know how you feel, but I'm a lot more picky about, not picky. I'm a lot more considerate about what I apply for in terms of casting and in terms of festivals because that's time and energy
And money.
and money that I'm having to take from something else. So, like,
Hmm.
is it worth my time and energy?
Hmm.
Because that is a time is limited. I always say that I'm time poor.
Yeah, same.
Like, that's the best way I can think to describe it. So it's like, is this actually worth my
Mm,
time?
yeah,
And I
I
think
agree
that's
with that.
something
And
you have, yeah,
I think I'm a lot more strategic, whereas I think especially when you're new, and we touched on this in the newbie chat
yeah,
that it's like, oh my God, you have to go international, you have to do a festival. Not really, but you do feel like you have to. So often you'll just apply to a ton of them.
yep,
And once you start getting into multiple festivals, it is hard to turn them down.
yeah, it is.
It's really hard to turn them down. So I try and be selective as to what I apply for
Yep.
to try and be like, if I got all of these, is it realistic and is
Mm-hmm.
it worth it? What am I getting out of this? Um,
Mm-hmm.
like prime example that I just did the Alps Festival on your recommendation.
Oh, it's so good, isn't
It's
it?
so good. Everybody do it. It's fantastic. But that was because it is one of the few festivals that allows longer than a 5 minute act.
Yeah.
It's really hard to get, and I've got a 6.5 minute act that
Yep.
is a good act. I know it's a good act, and it gets booked sometimes.
Mm.
I don't have the best footage of it compared to my other acts that have been to festivals because they're like 4 minutes
Well, no,
long.
you will.
Now I will. But that was one of the big draws for me was, knowing that it would get to go on a beautiful stage with great lighting, that I would get high quality video.
Yep.
That's hard to do at home. We don't have a
Yep.
lot of those spaces, and that's one of the things I look
Mm-hmm.
for. And I knew I wanted to get that act into a really good place. So it's like it gave me a framework, it gave me a deadline
Yep.
and a reason to be like, okay, for this period of time, we are focusing on this act.
Yep.
Even though like it's been on stage for a couple of years, it didn't need anything technically doing to it.
Yep.
I mean, it's better now for the work that I did put into it, but that was almost like, yeah, it was giving me the motivation. It was giving me a reason to like slot it in and have a schedule
That's like me.
with
So
a reward at the end.
I'm doing Kootenai end of June,
Hmm.
which is not that far away now.
It's
Fucking
really not.
wild behaviour. So I'm doing it's Baby Bell's first outing on a festival. She's going. So I'm gonna work on her. Like although she's new, I'm gonna
Mm.
like there's bits I can tidy up and clean up and I've already thought about changing some things and like all that kind of stuff. So like yeah, and again, that so far I had to consider whether or not it was I fucking loved that festival last year, so it wasn't really hard for me to decide, yeah, I'm happy to spend that money and that time. But again,
Hmm.
I'm also, is that an act I want to spend more time on? Yes, so that's okay. Like it's one I want to push more. So
Yeah.
yeah, it's your time and energy becomes a very valuable resource when you're trying to balance your life, I think.
Hmm. Hmm.
Um, how do you've talked about like your plan and stuff, how do you plan in like downtime for yourself? You seem to always be on the go. I'm not, and I say that as someone who regularly speaks to you on WhatsApp, and you're
You're like,
like,
what the
oh yeah,
fuck are you doing now?
I'm just auditing this act from like a year. I'm like, what are you? Why it's 10 o'clock at night? What are you doing?
Look, I think if I was to schedule in downtime, I wouldn't stick to it, right?
No, that's fair, but that's why I'm
Which,
asking, like,
yeah,
do you just take it when you need it?
yeah, but then I'm not that good at doing it. Again, I think the more that I would do better if I was to schedule more and
Yeah.
like, sometimes we have had chats like me and my partner where we're like, we need to like hang out more, not just like in the house.
Yeah.
Where you just end up like rewatching Supernatural because he's never seen it. So we're just like,
10 out of 10 decision though, not gonna lie.
right? We've just gotten over the hump that is season 7. We don't talk about it.
No, we don't.
It's back to being good again. Um, but yeah, there was a while where we were both just so busy. He's self-employed in a completely unrelated field, and then I'm doing a million things where we were just like, we never spend any time together. So we were like, let's schedule like date nights.
Yeah, we do that as well. We schedule date nights. And we
Yeah,
try and eat together as well. Like we try
yeah.
and have dinner together.
Yeah, we pretty much always have dinner together unless I've got a show or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's quite important as well. And I, again, I think I would do better if I did schedule it more because when we do schedule something fun in, he's real spontaneous. And again, this is our different kinds of neurospicy. He'll just be like, I don't know, it'll be Friday, and he'll be like, tomorrow, let's go and see this film at 4 p.m. And I'll be like, I have rehearsal. And he'll be like, or I'll be like, I have a stack of things to do, and that's the
Yeah.
only time I have to do it. And he'll be like, oh.
Yeah.
And I'm
We
like,
need to
but
schedule.
you didn't give me enough notice. If you told me earlier in the week, hey, do you want to keep something free so we can, So again, it feels really like not spontaneous and not romantic and not exciting, but actually scheduling stuff
Mate,
is
we're adults with
beneficial.
extremely busy lives. That
You have
fucking
to, it's
schedules
really
are
fucking boring.
so boring. It's so boring. Um,
But yeah,
something else I suppose
I'm
we
bad
should.
at switching off. I know that. I know that for a
Mm,
fact. And also just
I
I
used,
just I'm really into burlesque.
which is totally fair. I think I've said to you before, I used to be really bad, and I think I burnt out a few years ago in a previous job, and it made me realize that I had to like sort my shit out.
Hmm.
But I burnt out there. It wasn't just work or burlesque. There was also tons of personal stuff happening at the
It
same
was
time,
just
and it was just
everything
too
was a
much. It
lot.
was too much.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I had to find a way to like find a better balance. And
Hmm.
part of that has been, as I said, that headspace I talked about at the start because it allows me to work out where my time and energy has went.
Yeah. I think if you
Anyone,
can arrange things to like help like you say, recognizing what your resources are, maybe where you're sparse, where you're struggling, and things that you can do to help with that. So like I'm going to come on to this. A lot of people say, "Oh, you must be full time." No, I don't make enough from this. I'm not booked enough to be full time.
yeah,
I still need basically a full time job in order to be able to do what I do with my
yeah,
burlesque.
yeah.
But I've been very fortunate. The industry that I'm in has this other facet. Basically, they're really bad at keeping permanent staff. um, but we have this huge need for temporary staff to come in and cover holidays and sickness and,
Yeah.
you know, random surges that they weren't expecting and things. So I've been able to basically stay on a full-time salary, but take control over when I work
Yeah.
and just work less hours. I do 3 or 4 days a week. I haven't worked a weekend in over 2 years,
Mm.
which is unheard of in a permanent job, and you don't have really any control over that.
Yeah.
So actually taking that control over my time, although it comes with a whole load of other things that I need to organize, that in itself has lifted a lot of weight off of me because it used to stress me out so much that I couldn't do the things I wanted to do with burlesque because my day job was so intense and I had little say in, I asked for flexibility and it was like, well, no, that's just not how it works.
And that's why I think it's really important to call that out because both of
Mm,
us have had like, oh, you do so much, or you're always bit blah blah blah. We're in positions that we can do that. Like, if I was still, I was in an office today and I'm fucking knackered, man. I had to get up and go to Edinburgh and deal with people all day. It was disgusting. But,
people,
and I left early. Like, I left the office early as well, just so I
yeah.
could go home for this. So, if I was still full time in the office and, like, I go to the gym 4 days a week, and I do a flexibility class with Trixie Blue online, and I like try and go to dance classes, and then I've got blah blah blah. See, if I had all of that, I would have no fucking time in the world.
Mm, hmm.
And then shows. I would
Yeah.
have no, like, I admit I did that before lockdown. The year before lockdown, that is how I lived. And I can tell you now, I barely saw any of my friends outside of burlesque. Me and my partner drifted a
Hmm.
lot. Like, we had to deal with that later because I was never fucking in. I barely saw, I say family, my dad, because everyone else could fuck off, and my gran. Um,
Can relate.
like, everything became like I was in the office and then I was at dance class for 2 hours, 2 days a week, and then
Hmm.
I was still doing circus at the time, which was it was too much.
Yeah.
And I see people out there now who are trying to do that.
Hmm.
And because there is a fear that if you, again, what I said earlier, if you take your foot off the gas, that you're going to fall behind. You won't, but if you do want to keep doing this, you maybe have to think about how to make it sustainable for yourself. Like you
Yeah, you
took
can't
control of
do
your
that
work
long
life.
term. Hmm.
You took control of your work life. I do not want to work in an office. I work remotely and will only
Hmm.
look at jobs that are remote or hybrid, like 2 days a week. That's it,
Yeah.
because I need that flexibility. And I think that's most people I know that are able to sustain a level of busy, I suppose, in the industry tend to have some sort of flexibility in their day job.
You have to, right?
Yeah, I think it's the
Like, it's,
only way that this is sustainable.
yeah, like I've probably touched on this before, but yeah, so it was the end of 2023. That was, I worked basically up to Christmas.
Hmm.
And then that's when I ended my permanent job and started locuming. And
I
it was
remember you
2020,
talking about that actually.
yeah, it was
Really, really good.
2024 was when I did Hollywood, teaser, Stockholm. I did loads of other things,
It was a good
partly
year.
because I suddenly had that freedom and I also had weekends. Like, I cannot tell you how draining it is to do what's already a very intense job and sometimes be working 8 days in a row at it. And then, yeah, you would get a rest, but you would just, you know what I mean? It takes it out
Yeah,
of you.
yeah, it
And then
does.
that's a whole weekend that I couldn't see my partner. I couldn't, do laundry and go do a shop and things. So then you're doing it on those days. It's a mess.
Yeah,
Just knowing
I
that
get
I
it.
always have weekends for either shows or other things
Yep,
makes such a difference. And I'd handed in my notice in September of 2023 and I loved the job that I was in. I really enjoyed it. And of veterinary jobs, it was less intense than others can be because it was a charity job.
yep.
And it was it was like mid-October through to like early December. It was like a 6 week period or so.
Hmm.
I did not have a single day off. I was either at work, doing a show, traveling to go do a show, or doing some combination of all three
Yep,
every
yep,
single day.
yep.
And I went, because I was like, oh God, have I made the right decision? And I was getting to the middle of that stint and I was just like, this is not like, yes, this is the right decision. You absolutely cannot keep doing this. And I didn't want to take my foot off the pedal with burlesque.
So
I was
you
like a
have to
bit,
find you have to find a balance. See,
yeah,
before lockdown, my partner used to joke about this, but to be honest, we reflected on it, and he was right. Every 3 months, and I swear to God, it was almost on the dot. I would get so ill that I couldn't get out of bed for like a day.
your
And
body tells you.
I was always like, oh, I've got the flu again. It's terrible. And he was like, you've been doing too much.
Hmm.
And I was like, no, I've just got the flu. He's like, you've been doing too much and your body's crashed. And he's right. That's exactly what was happening because it doesn't happen anymore.
No.
Um, but I was like, I'm fine. Like, I'll say many times I know a lot of people hated lockdown and it was terrible, but it probably saved me from s- seriously ending up in hospital the way that I was
Mm.
going.
That is the most
Um,
rest I've ever had
yeah, it was
since I've
insane.
been working since, yeah, like
I was also doing at the time
2014.
I got into like I was doing like a bit of modeling and stuff as well. I've cut all
Mm.
that down. I work with very few photographers anymore. Um, Again, you have to kind of look at what is actually
What's
the
worth
right
it?
thing for me to invest my time in anymore.
Hmm.
Because yeah, you need to actually look after yourself. Like this goes out in May. We're recording this on the Wednesday before it goes out. But I
This
turned
goes out
37.
next month in a couple of days.
I turn 37 next month as well, and that's not old. Also isn't fucking young,
Mm.
right? My body needs to sleep. I woke up this morning and I couldn't fucking turn my neck a certain way because it's fucked. So
What is that? Why does that happen? Like,
God.
it's like, oh, welcome to your late 30s.
I was
Have a
like,
crick.
thanks. That's what I wanted. Something you've kind of written down. We have notes. Something you've written down in your notes. I'd love your thoughts on is like managing two personas as well, like
Mm, mm-hmm.
your work person and then your sparkly life person, and then you, because you're in there somewhere too, by the way.
Yeah. Because yeah, I feel like this is a common issue for a lot of people. Like there are some jobs where you can't fully embrace, like you can't tell your coworkers that you do burlesque. I've been very lucky that the industry that I'm in, like we work hard and we play hard. There's a lot of nurses that
Mm,
do pole dancing and things. There is quite a few vets that do things like burlesque or otherwise. People have Some people have hobbies outside of the industry. There's some people that are just like nerdy for it 24/7. I'm not. I need something completely separate. Um, but yeah, there are definitely jobs where people have to hide that part of their identity. And I know, like, for a lot of us, you find a certain part of your identity in burlesque. There's certain things that go into my burlesque persona that aren't like it's all me, but it's things that maybe
mm,
I have to suppress or felt that I had to suppress in a day job that it can feel a little bit. I feel like at work, I often feel like I'm putting on a persona
mm,
more than I do when I'm performing,
yeah.
even though that's obviously a very amplified kind of stage persona. And then, like you say, yeah, I'm somewhere in the middle. Um, but that's another thing that change has helped me with, where I feel like I can be more myself because
Mm,
I jump between locations, I jump between teams. If I don't gel well with a team, I don't have to work there again. There's
yeah.
plenty of teams that I do get on well with, but I do
Hmm.
feel like I can be a lot more myself. Whereas when you're in a permanent job, you've kind of got to fit in, and depending on whether you've naturally got the type of personality that they want, that might be more or less of a struggle.
Yeah, I'm in a kind of weird position in my work where I don't feel like I have to suppress too much of myself. Working from home helps a lot with that. But I've had to like tone down my, how do I put this? I don't think how to word it. I am definitely that person that questions a lot.
Mhm.
Like you know this, like my postgraduate degree was in investigative journalism. I wanted to be a journalist before I realised that you have to take an unpaid internship. And I'm poor. Or I was. Not now, but I was. So I'm really taught to question like why, and I want to understand. And it makes me really good at my job, like client facing. Um, Internally they fucking hate it
I was going to
because
say,
they'll
people
put
don't like that. They think you're like questioning them rather than just
so like
inquiring.
yes. So I'm very good at my job requires me to question processes and what's happening and
Mm,
why are we doing it this way and like all of that is like very much, oh, this is great, and I get praised for that. But then if the business comes out with like a decision and I kind of go, well, why have we made that decision? Like, what was the thinking behind it? Can I see that seen as I'm too challenging?
they think you're trying to undermine somebody.
Yeah, like I've had arguments with a board member on LinkedIn about stuff. The fact I've not been sacked is a genuine miracle, I'm not gonna lie. I've been here for over 3 years and I don't know how. But I do have to kind of I've learned not necessarily to suppress, but to balance where
Mm,
it's worth having an argument now.
hmm.
Whereas, and to be honest, that's actually kind of been a good thing because it's went on into burlesque land where I'm a lot better at not jumping on every fucking issue that comes up in burlesque and
Who
having an
has the
argument with
time?
people on the internet because it doesn't fucking matter. Um, So weirdly, learning to do that in my day job has actually made me better at that in burlesque as well, and it's about kind of
Yeah.
protecting my
I
peace
was
a
just
bit
thinking it's
more.
interesting how things cross over, isn't there? And like one of the things that burlesque has taught me, and actually being self-employed, it's kind of a chicken and egg melting pot kind of thing. I don't know
Yeah.
what has started it, but burlesque has definitely helped with things like being able to stand up for myself and ask for
Mm-hmm.
what I want.
Yeah.
Whereas I think I spent a lot of my career being like, oh, this is what the job is, or this is what the deal is. I just
I
have to
think one of
accept
the
it.
weirdly work talking about work-life balance, weirdly burlesque has kind of given me more in a strange way. What I mean is, so someone has just started at my day job
Hmm.
yesterday who I worked with in my previous role to this, so it's over 3.5 years the last time I worked with this person. And that was the role I burnt out in. And
Mm,
obviously I was doing burlesque then, but it hadn't quite taken off the way that it has since.
yeah,
Um, and we were chatting, and he was like, "You seem so much more relaxed these days." And I was like, "Oh, because I don't give a shit about my day job."
yeah,
In the nicest way possible. I show up, I do my job well, I know I'm good at my job, I don't struggle with imposter syndrome or anything with that case. Like, I log out, everything's great. I don't want a promotion.
yeah.
I am at a place where I'm fine. I have a couple of line reports that I look after that I got on with really well because I'm lucky in that case. My project, I'm good at it, so it's fine. Like I do not tie my self-worth and value into my day job anymore in a way
Yeah,
that I used to
yeah.
because my world is so much bigger.
Hmm.
And I also
I
don't
I really relate with that,
and I've
definitely.
had to it's also taught me to not tie my worth to how well I'm doing in
Hmm.
burlesque either. Like it's
Yeah.
actually given me a better sense of self and
Hmm.
I mean 2 years of therapy probably also helped. But just throwing that in there. But
It's
I
burlesque.
it's burlesque. But I feel like I have a better sense of self and a better way of finding like value in myself outside of like we're both millennial women. We grew up with you have a career, that's what your value is.
Yeah.
And having something else outside of work has kind of let me disengage from that,
Hmm.
which has been quite nice.
Yeah, I really relate to that, especially with the day job that I do, where
Yeah,
the
yeah.
entire narrative is like, well, you have to start doing work experience when you're like, I started when I was like 12.
I was literally about to make a
It's,
joke and be like 5 and you're like 12 and I'm like that's fucking work. Like Jesus
yeah,
Christ.
you wouldn't be allowed to anymore because of insurance, but at the time they were like, wait, it was the 90s. Whatever.
No one
Um,
cared. Yeah.
yeah. Um, yeah, like, you have to start working at it at such a young age. You have to decide that's what you're going to do, and you have to dedicate, you have to pick your school subjects very specifically. You have to,
Yeah.
because everybody that's applying has great grades. So it's the work experience that then sets you apart. So you have to have years of it before you turn 18 and are applying to uni. Then you got to get through the fucking course, which is a thing in and of itself. And
Yeah, I
then
can imagine.
they pump you full of this narrative of like, this is not a job, it's a vocation, and
Hmm.
just accepting never having control over your time.
Yeah.
Being like, there's no such thing as finishing time. You finish, like, what if an emergency comes in the door last thing? What if, X, Y, and Z happens? If it's a busy day, you just got to crack on with
Then I
it.
imagine like your whole identity becomes I am a vet.
Yeah, because since such a young age, that's what you've been working towards. And like, I nearly failed my course because I failed a reset exam by 0.5%, and had to go through the whole like appeals process and had to deal with this thing I've spent my entire life working towards might just be gone because somebody decides that actually that 0.5% makes all the difference, and all the work and good reports and things, spoiler alert, didn't happen. I'm fine.
Yeah, I was going to say, you're not a vet, it's fine.
But I literally had to sit with that and go, I have to try and unpick my identity from this at
Mm.
like 20 years old
That
when I've been
seems,
working on it since I was 12.
do you think burlesque, like we were talking about there, do you think burlesque has helped by giving you something else and making you make that step forward, or do you think you had unpicked it a bit before that?
I had to unpick it when I was faced with what if they turn around and say, no, that's it. Sorry,
That's fair.
you're
Yeah.
done. I don't think I'd fully digested it, and obviously I didn't actually have to deal with it because it was okay, but I did have to like be like, you have to live with the result of this, whichever it is. Was horrific. um, but I've also, like I said, I've always danced and done theatre and things, and one of the reasons that I didn't get into anything like burlesque at a younger age, say in my early 20s or whatever, was because of the narrative of it's not a proper job. You have to go to university and get a proper job. You're going to vet school. That's what you're doing. None of my family are university graduates. None of them are veterinary or anything. It was just me. So it's not even like it was that. It was, but they were very, I guess, taught that that's the thing that it's going to get you out of your small town. It's going to get you a career. It's going to,
I'm going to slightly psychoanalyze you purely because of what you're saying. I think is probably similar to me. When you were like achieving things, did it come to a point where it was just expected that you would do well,
hmm
and therefore your achievements were never celebrated?
yeah.
Oh yeah, same disease,
I have a
same
toxic mother
disease.
as well. So I
Oh,
do remember getting 94 or something on a test, like 94%. Like a maths test in high school, and it was like, why wasn't it 100?
see, I didn't have that, but I just got, oh, of course you did well.
Yeah.
Of course you did. Of course you did
Yeah.
well. Yeah, that's fine. And then that became, I couldn't not do well
hmm
because it felt like an expectation that I had to meet,
Yeah.
even though it was never celebrated, it was never
The standard
appreciated.
was here. That
Yeah,
was
and I
just
could
the
never
expectation.
achieve it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And therefore I feel like everything in my life I have to be amazing. Again, I've unpicked quite a lot of this in therapy, thank fuck. But I have to be amazing and I have to work hard at absolutely everything in my life and I have to be amazing at everything I do in life or I'm not of value. And therefore
Yeah,
rest
same.
is a bad thing.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
like, why are you always doing things? I'm like, this is why.
Yeah, I kind of worked that out, I'll be honest.
But it's also because, like I said, I had to kind of deny that side of myself that I do
For so
really
long.
love. And
Yeah.
yeah, for so long, because I was just like, I don't have the time, and it isn't up to me to have the time unless I leave this profession.
Yeah.
Because I was basically told, because you don't have kids, there is no flexibility for you in terms of late finishes, weekends, on call, all that kind of stuff. You just got to suck it up. But this is what you signed up for. Literally, the amount of times we were told that this is what you signed up for
So
at 18.
toxic.
It's so toxic. My God. And like,
Right.
right. And there's people that have been at this for like 20 plus years that still wouldn't stand up for themselves and wouldn't be like, do you know what? Actually, no, I would like a designated finishing time. Again, we all understand if you're working on your own, for example, and it's something walks through the door that's dying, you got to deal with it.
Yeah.
However, there are a lot of faux emergencies. And also, there are dedicated emergency clinics.
Yep. Yep.
Most of the time, there actually isn't need for people to be staying beyond finishing time, often unpaid, because again, overtime is not really a thing. So this is
Yeah.
the mentality that I was coming from, is like, your time is not your own.
Yeah.
You work until we say you're done. And I did
Mm.
that for a long, 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 long time. So then having something that is mine,
Yeah.
both in terms of it's my creativity, it's my choice to do this, but also I decide how and when I do it, that then, yeah, that's then fed into me going, actually, no, I'm not going to work like this anymore, because if I keep working like this in this career, this can never go anywhere.
Yeah.
And I've already spent my whole life in that status.
And it
So
didn't get you
actually,
anywhere. It didn't make you happy.
no, no. And
So
it just stressed me out.
yeah.
And like, I don't want to be a specialist. I don't want to, like you say, I don't want to get a promotion. I don't want to be I don't want to manage a clinic. I'm not interested in any of that. I'm happy that I am experienced and, dedicated enough in my job that I can show up and do a good job for my patients, and that's all I care about. I actually don't really care about anything else.
Yeah,
I
same.
come
And we get
in, I
paid
look
enough
after the
money.
animals, I take the money.
Yeah, we get paid enough money that we can
hmm
do the things that we want to do. We can
hmm
fucking blow a whole paycheck on fucking rings and boas and flights. And that's what we want to do. Like life is so fucking cheesy, but that whole life is worth living. Life is for
Yeah,
living. Like it's true. And I
yeah.
think the
Work to
number of
live, not live
people,
to work.
yeah, but
It's
we
so
were
true.
very much brought up in the idea that you're fucking capitalism. Now we're turning into a different podcast altogether.
Yeah,
But
burn
you're
it all
brought
to
up
the
that
ground.
like yeah, you're brought up that like your work is who you are, your job
hmm
is who you are, your job is your value, and
hmm
all that kind of nonsense, and you have to be like moving
And you
upwards. And
do
it's
what you're
like,
told.
yeah, I've never been very good. Well, I used to be very good at that, and then I had a very, very toxic relationship and came out and was a chronic people pleaser, and then came out of it and went drastically the other way.
I mean, that's nice in a way.
I've had to find a balance.
hmm
Uh, but yeah, it's yeah, I do think burlesque has definitely weirdly helped me actually have a life outside of work. I just have to make sure that
Yeah.
burlesque doesn't
Like
then
I
become a
touched
thing.
on earlier, it's definitely helped me to set boundaries and to know my worth. And I think this goes into, last time we touched into like fees and things like that. Because again, your time is valuable. And once you get to a
Hmm.
point where you're like, I don't need to be doing absolutely every gig just for stage time. It's what else about it is worth it to me. And it's the same with work, like when I first started locuming, I was doing 4 or 5 days a week, which is, often 9 or 10 hour shifts. So like it's pretty hardcore full time. Um, and it's an intense job. Then I went to 4, sometimes 3. Now I'm like, I do a solid 3. Occasionally I'll do 4 if I want to then take a holiday, or because financially I don't care about how, like, I could make tons of money by working, like, I know there's some people that work 6 days a week, and I'm like,
But when
couldn't
would
do
you,
it. But I
when
don't.
do you spend it? When do you spend the money if you're working
Exactly.
six
I
days
can
a
only
week?
imagine they maybe work for a period and then like take like 6 months off. That's one way of doing it. I need more,
Yeah, same.
yeah, I need more time and more breaks in between. But it's even things like, I'd be fully booked. I'd be like, right, I have enough shifts for the month. I'm going to keep the rest of the time to rest and do burlesque and do fun things. And then one of my regulars would be like, oh, we're really stuck for cover on this day. Can you do it? And I would look at my diary and be like, I could do it. And I'd often say yes. And then I would get burnt out again. And that's the
Mhm.
thing that I've had to learn, is actually, to learn my own limits, not even limits, but just what my own balance, my own ideal balance is.
Yeah.
And to say no. Even if I'm available, they can't see my schedule, just saying, sorry, I can't, because I
You can
don't
just be like,
want
oh no,
to.
I'm busy. Oh
Yeah.
no.
Like, I don't need to give a reason. Do you know what I mean? But that's been a thing that I've had to really
Yeah.
learn,
Yeah.
is no is a full sentence.
That's an
You know,
excellent
I don't have to be
focus.
like, oh, I could. Like, no, just being like, I can't, sorry. The
Yeah.
end.
And
I,
that's it.
I, I don't need to explain why.
No, no.
And even just asking for what, there's just negotiating. I feel like I've gotten better at negotiating, and that's come from burlesque.
It's weird the kind of skills it's giving you. I'm a lot better at talking to people I don't know.
Mm,
Um, just in terms of like I'll strike you go backstage and you've never met someone, you're like, ah,
yeah,
and you just start chatting.
yeah.
Um, like it's an aspect of that in work, but it's different. Like I feel like burlesque definitely gave me that. I never travelled on my own until burlesque either, like
I
abroad.
don't think I really did either.
Mm-mm.
We just do it.
Yeah, but then you just do like yeah. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going to America on my own.
Yeah, to see my friends.
Yeah, bye. Like there's so much confidence and experiences and there's so much that burlesque has given
hmm
me, which is why I don't mind that it sucks up all my spare time. I was thinking
Yeah.
about it though, like, see if I had to like quit tomorrow, I don't know what the fuck I would do with my time.
Yeah.
Like, what do people do? Like, sometimes I'll purposely take a night off and I'm done at like 6.
hmm
It's like I've done all work, I've been at the gym, I've done the housework, and I'm sitting there and I'm like, what do people do?
You know what I do? I'm like, just look at this act, or I'll just get out this
Yeah,
piece
but
of
like,
cosmetic, or
what
I'll
do
just watch
people?
things. Yeah, but
But
what do people
what
do
do
that
people
don't
that what do people that don't do? But like, what do they do?
go to the pub, I think.
Like, I could read for a bit, but like, I can't do that every night. Like, I
Mm,
genuinely, I'm sitting there and I'm like, what the fuck am I
yeah.
supposed to do for the night until I go to bed? Like, what the
Yeah.
fuck?
Work-life balance, fill it with everything.
And that is our podcast. That's our tip, gang. I don't feel like have we given you gave your planning tip. I tried to give
Yeah.
tips about how my brain helps me like pull back on things. Have you get any other
I
ideas?
have been chewing on a thought, and I think we've kind of like it kind of wraps up what we've been talking about, which is
Go for it.
kind of learn to have a think and like learn to recognize where you get your energy. And
Mm-hmm.
like, because yeah, there's some, like we say, there's some things that we do because we have to do them, but they also are super helpful.
Yeah.
So it's like, where do you get value from things? So like we were talking about my aerial that I've not been to for ages. That is brain switch off from other things, because if your
Yep.
brain is not engaged doing aerial, you will do yourself a damage. So that's good for me to be like, to stop me from constantly working on things.
Yep.
It's exercise, it's brain training, it's a new skill, but then it also helps the physicality of
Physically.
the
Yep.
burlesque that I do. It helps with that. Um, Things like being selective about the festivals. It's
Slash
yeah,
shows.
it's slash shows. Yeah, it's recognizing what fills your cup and what empties it.
Yep.
Right? Because although I'm very tired from coming back from Alps Festival, it was so filling in terms of like how well looked after we were, how nice the crowd were, how nice the
Yep.
stage was. I had a one-to-one with Media Noche that was so inspiring,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a bit like, oh my God, it's a bit of a packed schedule. I could have just like not done this.
Yep.
But actually, the things it has given me are then great tools to bring back to then go on to the next thing.
Yep.
Um,
Because that's like I'm
yeah.
thinking there's like the types of rest that I think is the
hmm
important thing. Because I said that I did
Yes.
this, I posted about this recently because I was doing a paint by numbers, and I was
hmm
like, this is creative rest. Even
Yeah.
though we're always creative, the paint by numbers was creative rest because it was about doing something that wasn't for anything. It was
Yeah.
just for me.
Yeah.
And like there's so many different types of rest. There's physical that we always talk about. I've pulled it up. There's mental, which you talked
hmm
about. Like whether that be you're focusing on one particular thing or you're just like listening to music or whatever. Emotional rest, I think this can be fucking emotional sometimes.
Definitely.
Sensory, just lying down and ignoring the world. Um, Social rest, spending time with people that actually fill your battery. And then
Not drain
spiritual
it.
rest, which is things like what brings your life meaning, what brings you community, what gives you positive. Like these are, we're not, people are not very good at balancing these. And I think it's an important thing to work out what fills what for you and then
Yeah.
working out what type of burnout are you, or not
hmm
burnout, what type of rest do you need? Because the creative rest, after I did that, I felt a lot more able to like focus on this act that I'm revamping because I let my brain not do something that was for nothing. Like there
Yeah.
was no reason behind it other than let's paint.
For fun. Yeah.
Yeah.
I had a bit of that. I mean, again, I've kind of fallen off the wagon with it, but I spoke to you about this when I did a couple of dance classes just for fun, not to like specifically train burlesque or anything, because that's what I used to do for fun.
That's what I go to dance classes on Tuesdays and they're just
Yeah.
like it's called sassy jazzy heels. It's great fun. And it's not like, yes, it makes me more bodily aware and it make like all that kind
But
of
that's
stuff,
not
but
the
it's not
primary reason that you're doing it. You're just doing it
just
for
to go and
fun.
dance and have
Yeah,
fun. Like a lot of the moves are not moves I'd necessarily put in a burlesque routine, but it's not
yeah.
about that. It's just about going and dancing.
But again,
And
it
again,
helps feed the creativity often, doesn't it? Because, and
yeah,
just making you stop thinking about things that you have to think about. Because again, dancing, learning a routine, you have to
you're
be
very in the
focused on that.
moment.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It makes you be present and not be constantly trying to do a million things.
Yeah, your brain's not going, you should be doing this, you should be doing
Yeah.
that, you should be
Like
doing this. Why
rest is
aren't you
not
doing
always do nothing. Sometimes it's do something that
Yes.
fills one cup.
Yes. So that's maybe why, like, when I'm saying you're always fucking busy, you're doing things that are filling your cup. So that's that's fine.
Mm,
As long as you're not consistently drained by everything
hmm.
you're doing. Like hearing you talk about your the act that you want to work on after your one to one with Medianoche, like I could feel the excitement. It was the same.
Yeah,
I had a one to one the other month, and I was messaging you, and you've seen me working on like my purple act and stuff. Like it fills you up. I find one to ones really like yeah. I always walk away with energy, whether I'm doing the one to one or I'm the
yeah.
one in the one to one. I always walk away feeling like infused.
Yeah, it was really interesting as well. I've never done one this early in an act process either. Normally, I do it when it's like maybe it's been on stage once, maybe it's getting close to being about to be on stage. Maybe it's the
Hmm.
morning I'm debuting it. Gina Sterling will remember that one, but it was good.
Maybe this is
Um,
a maybe this is a sign you need to do it more early.
yeah, and part of the reason I wanted to is because thematically it has some similarities to one of her acts. So I was like, I want to run it by her and just chat through everything. Also, she's amazing, so I was like,
Hmm.
she'll
Yeah.
get what I'm trying to put down and give me some pointers. But I was a bit like, I don't have much, I'm sorry, at the start. And then, I played her my song and I talked through things. And like the whole session, we were both like, oh, and oh, it was one of these
Yeah. Yeah.
ideas were just whizzing around.
Hmm. More
She'd
like
be like,
a
oh, can I have your veil? Let me just do this. And we'd be like, oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. It felt like truly workshopping something and just like playing around. It wasn't I have this, I have to get X, Y, and Z out of this. There
it's
wasn't
a
a specific,
collaborative
yeah,
process.
yeah, but also very open and very experimental. It wasn't like I
Yeah.
have this thing, I'm working towards this specific goal.
Hmm.
It wasn't such a worky feeling
It was more
one to
like this
one.
is the concept.
Yeah,
Let's chat through it.
yeah. And actually, it was so inspiring and so helpful. I thought, oh, should I do one of my acts that's more established so I'll get like more
Remember
specific?
we talked about that? Yeah.
I'm so glad that I did it though. It was great.
Good. Well, I feel like we've summarized things. Basically, think about your different types of rest.
hmm
I think that's an important thing.
Very
Work out what
important.
fills your cup. And also, if you have a full-time job that you're like working really hard on, give yourself a bit of grace that you don't have to be
hmm
going 500 miles all the time with burlesque. Like we said in our newbie episode, go at your own pace, gang.
Yeah. And I guess if you do want to go 100 miles at burlesque and there's barriers, try and identify what they are and think outside of the box. Is there things you can change?
Yep.
Do you have to keep everything the same, or are there maybe some things you could shuffle around to give
Yeah.
yourself the space
I mean,
to
this is
do
a
more of what
total
you want?
out of the blue thing, but like when I burnt out and I moved jobs like 3.5 years ago, I actually took a demotion at the time. I've worked my
hmm
way back up, but I took a demotion and a pay cut at the time because I just needed more headspace. That wasn't the right place for me to be. So if you're in that position and you really like, it may be a case of working out what is important to me.
hmm I'm doing less of the work that I really enjoy and have to, I have to deal with. It's clients, that's what it is. I used to work
People
with
make
animals that,
people.
yeah, I used to work with animals that had no people attached. It was wonderful. I've gone back to doing consulting and things, and I don't get to do as much surgery as I used to do. That's a sacrifice I made for more time and more agency and more control over more separation, just better mental clarity.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Sometimes you do have to weigh up, do I need to have it all? Or
yeah,
is
yeah.
something that I think is really important actually the barrier to me being able to have other
Yeah.
things that I could
Or
really
is
do with
it like
having.
you can't change the day job, but actually can you do you need to do a show every weekend? If you're doing
Hmm.
a show every weekend, could you do two shows a month? Could you do like all this kind of
Yeah.
stuff
If
as
you're
well? Like
producing,
it's
could you, is there somebody you could co-produce with that would lighten
yeah,
the load a bit?
yeah. There's all these different type of things. The usual pluggables. You've got a show this month, right?
Yes, we do. We have Clandestine on the 17th. We have the wonderful Dominus von Vexo and Mimi Mariama jetting over from exotic Birmingham.
Amazing.
But
Oh,
it's very
ah,
exciting. Oh, Birmingham. Um, they're both amazing. And we also have Mazzy Oops and our
oh,
very own Pixel Dust. Yes, Mazzy is wonderful. We love her. I think we had her in one of the very first clandestines and have not had her since. So we're very, very excited to have her back. May 17th in London. Get your tickets.
get your two
If
cards.
you cannot physically be there, you can buy a pay it forward, and then it means someone local who couldn't otherwise afford to can come see the show. So that's a great way you can support as well.
That's cute. Da, 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 da. If we get live stream tickets from Behalf, we will be live streaming on I think it ends up being the morning of the 30th. I need to double check that.
No, it'll be the first. Is it the
29th?
31st of the first? The 30th
Two
is
seconds.
the 30th is the Saturday,
Saturday
but we
is the
are
31st. Yes, it'll be the
mhm.
31st hour UK time, 4 a.m. on the YouTube.
I will be in
Um,
Wales.
you will be in Wales, but you'll still be online. Um, we won't be sharing the screen with the actual show on it. You would have to buy like your own ticket. We're only going to be live streaming like our reactions, but the point is
Mhm.
there'll be a chat. You can chat along with us. We can all get excited for the acts.
We'll watch it
Um,
together.
yes, we're just waiting on the live stream tickets going up so that we can actually announce that we're doing it on Instagram as well, so you can join us. It'll also be the recording will go up on YouTube, so
Mhm.
if you want to watch it later but still pretend like you're watching it with friends, then you can. We will be in bed because it basically finishes at 9 a.m. and I'm going straight back to my
Yeah,
fucking bed
that'll
at
be
that
us
point.
done.
I'm so done. Um, we still have a Patreon. I'm not very good at keeping up to date, but I'm going to try a bit more. But you can tell us over there like what topics you want us to talk about, or if you're wanting to like just have a combo about whatever our latest episode is. Obviously, we always
Yeah,
chat
chat
on
to us.
Instagram. I might put up a wee thing asking if people are interested in our mugs, because if you want them, we can maybe merch. Maybe
This is
merch.
hilarious to anyone that's not watching the video.
Yeah, I know, because we're
We're
just
just
sitting here. There's like no, we're just silent as we're showing our mugs to the screen. I'll screenshot this and put it on Instagram. It's
yes.
fine. I'm trying to think if there's anything. I don't think so. We'll be back next month.
Yep.
There's no second parter this month.
No
Tis a
special
one parter.
surprises.
No special surprises. It's just us again, gang. I'm really sorry. Um, but we will be back. Oh, someone wants feds.
Someone has been fed. They've just come
Oh,
to have a shout.
can you show her to everyone who's decided to stay on? And this will be when the internet jumps onto YouTube. Hi, Grumpy Baby.
Is this just like how we have to end the podcast now? Is just with Roma screaming?
Well, she did it in the episode with Holly, remember?
Yeah, she, it's hilarious.
She's so gorgeous. Anyway, we love you, gang. Thank you so much for joining you, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.